After David Benavidez decided to go his own way and forget about Canelo, he announced that he would be fighting David Morrell. However, it looks like he is taking out his anger on Morrell by jabbing him hard, but Morrell isn't letting it go easily. He is already fighting back. After his TKO win over David Lemieux in the third round in May 2022, David Benavidez's confidence has been on full show. That win made him the undisputed super middleweight champion.
That's it, we good. You alright? You sure?
After that win, Benavidez wasn't afraid to say some very mean things about some of the other top candidates, such as David Morrell, Caleb Plant, and Jermall Charlo. Since then, Benavidez has been very direct and rude in his comments, calling his possible opponents the B-word and promising to destroy them all seriously. Not only did he want to get people excited about a fight, but he also wanted to make it clear that he was the best boxer in the class.
Name 3 guys: Charlo, Caleb Plant, and David Morrell. We're here, man. Go fight any of these fucking ducks, Now, fucking Morrell's talking a lot of shit,
No matter who they put in front of me, I'll knock them all out. Benavidez said Morrell planted Charlo. They're all involved. When we meet in the ring, I'll let them know what's going on. This wasn't the first time Benavidez has thrown verbal jabs at his rivals, but this particular instance showed that he was particularly focused on taking on David Morrell, a fighter who has also been vocal about wanting a piece of Benavidez. David Morrell, a rising Cuban star in the division, has now fired back, known for his fearlessness and technical skill in the ring. Morrell has been itching for a high-profile fight, and Benavidez' trash talk gave him the perfect chance to respond. Speaking from his training camp, Morrell made a sharp retort, making it clear that he is not someone who will be intimidated by Benavidez. Bravado. I ain't no, and you're going to find out. Morrell shot back, I'm from Cuba, and I'm not afraid to fight you. I've beaten bigger and better fighters than you, so right after this fight, I got up. Get your ass ready.
By hands, that everybody wanted this fight, me and hands. So it's only for this, not for no personality, not for nothing, no personal. So it's only like everybody want to see like him, me. Hands the best. For me, 175. So I'm coming for the best at 175.
Morrell's words weren't just a typical reaction. They were a declaration of war. The Cuban fighter has steadily climbed the ranks, building an interesting record and showcasing a dangerous blend of power and skill, while Benavidez has been the more famous name in the division. Morrell has been making waves, and now with both fighters going for the same prize, the clash feels unavoidable. Morrell further intensified the argument by adding, I'm on a hunt for Benavidez's head. There is no B in me after my fight. I'm going to make you my __. No need to talk anymore. I'm going to show you better than I can tell you. See you soon. This robust reply not only addressed Benavidez's disparaging comments, but also escalated the situation. Morrell has now made it clear that he's ready for war and is set on taking Benavidez down.
On David Morrell, and to the fans who are like, why didn't you fight Morrell at 68 instead of this Bostic fight at 75?
Yeah, so, there's really big fights. He's a really good fighter, let me start with that. He's a really good fighter. I feel like, the person I wanted to fight at 68 because I'm kind of already done with 68, you know what I mean?
The fight between Benavidez and Morrell is definitely set to take place in early 2025, though the exact date and venue are yet to be confirmed. The bout is already generating huge excitement, not just because of the fighter's skill, but also because of the heated back and forth between them. The bout will be for the WBA and WBC interim light heavyweight titles, making it a high-stakes event. Both fighters will be stepping up to light heavyweight, and with 2 belts on the line, the winner will be posed for even bigger chances in the future. Benavidez is considered one of the most dangerous punchers in the sport. His relentless pressure and skill to break down opponents have made him a fan favorite. His win over former champion Caleb Plant earlier in 2023 was another notch in his belt, solidifying his place as one of the top super middleweights in the world.
David Morrell, you are in no way, shape, or form ready for the Mexican monster David Benavidez or Canelo. You will get humiliated before you get knocked out. Give it up, David Morrell.
Meanwhile, Morrell, the WBA regular super middleweight champion, has shown that he's not just a talented fighter, but also a dangerous one. His technical skills honed in Cuba's famous amateur system combined with his power make him a formidable opponent for anyone in the division. Morrell has been calling for big fights, and now he's won one of the biggest in the sport. Part of the excitement surrounding this fight comes from the fact that both Benavidez and Morrell have long claimed they were being ignored by other top fighters. Benavidez has repeatedly called out fighters like Jermall Charlo and Caleb Plant, accusing them of ducking him, while Morrell has expressed frustration at not getting the big fights he thinks he deserves.
And he's got a really good
vicious right hook.
He hurt him with that. And see, those are the setup punches that I'm talking about.
And Henderson's been down once in his career. He is getting tattooed on the ropes.
It's funny how these guys run their mouths but won't step up. Benavidez said, "I've been calling out Charlo Plant, and now Morrell, and I'm ready to knock them all out. They know what's coming if they get in the ring with me." Morrell, on the other hand, has been eager to prove that he's the best in the division and has been calling for a fight with Benavidez for some time now. That the fight is set, he has the opportunity to back up his words with. The fight set for early 2025. Both fighters have ample time to prepare, and the months leading up to the bout will likely see even more trash talk and heated exchanges. Benavidez never wants to shy away from confrontation and has already hinted that he's looking beyond Morrell to other big fights, mentioning names like Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev as possible future opponents if he wins.
David Morrell said he's going to follow David Benavidez to 175 pounds. David Benavidez says that Morrell is talking shit. He don't really bring nothing to the table. He only got 9 fights. If he don't get the Canelo fight, then he looking to move up to 175 and see if he can get the Bivol fight, and so forth and so on.
"I'm going to take care of Morrell, and after that, I want the big fights. I'm coming for everyone, and I'm not stopping until I've cleaned out the division," Benavidez said in a recent interview, but first he'll have to deal with Morrell, who seems more than ready to take on the task with both fighters undefeated. The stakes couldn't be higher, and fans can expect an all-out war when these two finally step into the ring. David Benavidez and David Morrell has hit a critical point in their careers where it's no longer about waiting for big names like Canelo Alvarez to come calling. It's time for them to forge their own legacies. The upcoming showdown between the two undefeated fighters represents more than just a high-stakes bout. It reflects their readiness to take
Vicious, hard punches from a puncher.
Benavidez lighting up Davis here in the 6th. Davis saying, "Bring me more," and Davis valiantly fighting.
For years, both Benavidez and Morrell lingered in the shadows of bigger names, especially the highly coveted Canelo Alvarez. Each had built their image as dangerous fighters in the super middleweight division, yet they never met and managed to land that elusive fight with Canelo. As time passed, it became clear that waiting for a chance against the Mexican superstar wasn't enough to cement their place among boxing's elite. They had to prove themselves not by chasing the biggest paycheck but by facing the best in their weight class. Benavidez, in particular, has been vocal about his frustrations over the years after Canelo unified the super middleweight class by defeating Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders and Caleb Plant. Benavidez emerged as the top remaining candidate, but even though he won the WBC interim title to put himself in the prime position for a showdown with Canelo, the fight never materialized.
What'd you think of David Morrell tonight, brother? Is he next?
He looked good. I've been wanting to fight him my last fight, so that's a potential matchup, and I love it.
Still, Benavidez didn't waste time sulking. He took things into his own hands, defeating Plant in a commanding performance earlier in 2023, reaffirming his claim as the best of the available challengers at 168 pounds. He then went even further by going into the ring against Dimitri Andrade, a fight that Canelo had been criticized for avoiding. In that fight, Benavidez's power and relentless pressure were on full show, and his dominance over Andrade only solidified his standing as a top-tier fighter. But instead of continuing to wait on a fight that might never happen, Benavidez made the move to light heavyweight, a division that not only offers new challenges but also the possibility for career-defining fights. David Morrell has had a different yet equally fascinating rise. The Cuban-born fighter has steadily built his name, winning the WBA regular super middleweight title and showcasing his technical skills and power. Morrell, like Benavidez, was one of the fighters who seemed on the verge of getting into the Canelo sweepstakes but never got the call. As Morrell moved up to light heavyweight and claimed the WBA regular title from Bravo KC in August, it became clear that his road to greatness wouldn't be dependent on chasing Canelo either. Morrell's method has been to take on the best and prove himself. His readiness to face Benavidez is a clear statement of intent. This isn't just another fight to Pat's record. This is about legacy. The trash talk between the two has been heated, but it reflects their mutual knowledge that the winner of this fight will be in the one position for a crack at light heavyweight. Supremacy. The Benavidez vs Morrell fight couldn't come at a more perfect time, with both athletes having already moved to light heavyweight. Their respective wins over Alexander Gazek for Benavidez and Ravo Kate for Morrell won them secondary titles, positioning them for even greater chances. However, neither effort was flawless, leaving room for questions about where they truly stand in the division.
To put a crushing capstone on this contest. Yeah, there it is. That was the right hook that really did the job.
Benavidez's victory over Gazek earned him the WBC interim light heavyweight title, but the fight revealed vulnerabilities. Gazek, a former world champion, gave Benavidez more trouble than expected, and while Benavidez finally won, it was far from the dominant performance many had anticipated. Morrell's win over Kidd for the WBA regular title had a similar tone, while he won the belt. It wasn't the kind of statement victory that would strike fear into the division's elite. This is where the importance of the upcoming fight lies. Both Benavidez and Morrell need a definitive victory to solidify their place as true threats in the light heavyweight division. With Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol sitting at the top of the division as the reigning kings, Benavidez and Morrell know that this fight is their stepping stone toward a possible showdown with one of those champions. In a way, they aren't just fighting for a title, they're fighting for the chance to define their legacy. While Artur Beterbiev vs Bivol is still the dream fight at light heavyweight, Benavidez vs Morrell comes a close second. The build-up to this fight has all the parts of a classic. Two undefeated fighters have bad blood and high stakes. This is more than just a fight to stay busy, waiting for the better Beterbiev-Bivol winner. This is a fight that could redefine the direction of both men's careers.
You can see when Bivol throws the 1-2s like this, he is scoring. Right hooks, overhand rights being landed by Canelo.
However, there is an interesting figure that could appear in the future on Benavidez, and that's Canelo. But for now, Canelo seems focused on other fights. Canelo's last outing came in September, when he won a comfortable unanimous decision win over Edgar Berlanga, a fight that showed his dominance but did little to answer questions about his next move. Prior to this fight, Canelo had made it clear that he was eyeing a rematch with Dmitry Bivol, the only fighter to effectively defeat him since 2013. Canelo's desire for a repeat stems from his loss to Bivol in May 2022, when the Russian outboxed him in a 12-round decision for the WBA light heavyweight title. The rematch, however, was contingent upon Bivol beating Artur Beterbiev in an undisputed title clash.
There's a couple of 168 pounds. You got David Morrell in here. When you see other competition, do you want to like shake their hands or like off them?
Nah.
You know,
he's sober and I tell him in his face.
Oh, okay.
But
I didn't know that had beef.
Nah, he did an interview. I ain't happy. I don't got beef with that nigga. My last fight, I seen a video, he was talking mad shit, like, he gonna knock me out. But fuck that nigga.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Fuck him.
As fate would have it, Beterbiev and Bivol faced off in October 2020 in Saudi Arabia, with Beterbiev emerging victorious in a closely contested fight that saw Bivol lose by a split vote. Although Bivol fought valiantly and became the first man to hear the final bell against the 39-year-old knockout artist, said the choice was controversial. Bivol promoter Eddie Hearn expressed outrage at the result, saying Bivol was the clear winner and calling for one of the judges to be removed from future assignments. This result has thrown Canelo's plans into disarray. Originally, Canelo envisioned meeting Bivol in a rematch to avenge his loss, but Bivol's defeat to Artur Beterbiev complicates the situation.
Beterbiev and Benavidez, who do you think is the biggest challenge for you?
Oh, Beterbiev.
Beterbiev?
Yeah,
why is that?
Of course. Because he's a champion. He has something to offer me. He's strong. He's in another way. He's a lot of things.
Beterbiev is now holding all four major light heavyweight titles. Canelo may be forced to reevaluate his choices. Will he follow a fight with Beterbiev, or will he continue to chase a rematch with Bivol, who is now no longer the undisputed champion? Canelo's chose Beterbiev over Benavidez. In a chat with Co-Artist Sports ahead of the Beterbiev-Bivol clash, Canelo was asked about which fighter would offer the tougher challenge between Beterbiev and Benavidez, without hesitation. Canelo chose Beterbiev, saying, "Oh, Beterbiev. Yeah, of course he's a champion. He has something to offer me. he's strong. He's at another weight. This comment says volumes about Canelo's mindset. He's focused on fighting champions to bring something tangible to the table, namely titles and legacy-defining chances.
Just got done watching the Jaime Munguia Canelo fight. It was a good fight. It didn't win exactly how I expected, but hats off to both fighters.
This statement also shows why Canelo has been slow to engage with David Benavidez, despite Benavidez being a rising star in the super middleweight and light heavyweight divisions. Canelo seems to view him as less of a concern. For Canelo, it's not just about fighting the best contenders, but about securing fights that further enhance his reputation. Benavidez, with his 3 belts and fearsome knockout power, represents a far more attractive choice in Canelo's eyes, while David Benavidez, known as the Mexican Monster, has been steadily building his case as the most deserving challenger to Canelo's super middleweight throne.
Do you agree with all the criticism you're receiving? They always want you to face somebody.
They're always
talking.
Everybody wants to face me. Everybody is talking about me. That's good.
Canelo, you always say when you're fighting someone, it's different when they're inside the ring.
Yeah.
How is it different? If you could elaborate.
Because they not used to be with a fighter like me.
As the current WBC interim champion, Benavidez has already beaten top-tier fighters like Caleb Plant and Demetrius Andrade, both of whom were considered credible threats. His victory over Plant in March 2023 was particularly significant, as Plant was one of the few fighters to give Canelo a competitive fight before being stopped in the 11th round of their 2021 bout. Benavidez has been vocal in his pursuit of Canelo, calling him out repeatedly and saying that he is ready to fight the best in the division. However, despite his accomplishments, Canelo has not shown any desire to entertain the fight, at least not yet.
They always blame, but I don't care that too, because the people always talk, so no matter what. No, obviously he's a risk. He's a great fighter, and plus...
This has led to frustration among fans and boxing experts. Many think that a fight between Canelo and Benavidez is inevitable and that it should happen sooner rather than later. However, Canelo's focus on Bivol and Beterbiev shows that he sees Benavidez as a future opponent, not an immediate one. As things stand, Canelo's next move remains unclear. With Bivol's loss to Beterbiev, a rematch with the Russian is now less possible, although it's not entirely off the table. Devalco could still work his way back into title contention, especially if he manages to win a rematch with Beterbiev or if the WBA mandates another title defense for him.
I don't really like to bash somebody because at the end of the day, I give respect to Canelo. He's a great fighter.
Yeah.
He's one of the best Mexican fighters of all time.
But wanting to fight him, David, is not bashing him.
Yeah.
That's not bashing him.
But that's what I'm saying. They spin the narrative on Instagram.
Right.
If I say something, they say this or that.
On the other hand, a fight with Beterbiev would be a massive event, putting Canelo against one of the most dangerous punchers in the sport. However, it would also be a high-risk fight for Alvarez. Beterbiev is known for his deadly knockout power. Having stopped 19 of his 20 opponents at 39 years old, Beterbiev is still a fearsome force, and Canelo would need to bring his very best to dethrone the Russian. There's also the chance that Canelo could choose to stay at super middleweight. One such option is Charlo, the WBC middleweight champion, who has voiced interest in moving up to 168 pounds to challenge Canelo. Ultimately, Canelo's choice will come down to what he values most at this stage in his career. If he is chasing legacy and wants to cement his place as one of the greatest fighters of all time, a move to light heavyweight and a showdown with Beterbiev would be the logical next step. It's the kind of fight that could define his career and elevate him to an even higher level of greatness.
So there's A-level fighters, and then there's the guys below. You know, Benavidez is not there yet, so I don't think he's in the driver's seat like that to not take a fight like Morrell. Especially, hey, he has a secondary belt. I think Benavidez does too, so you guys are on the same level. Don't forget that.
However, if Canelo is more interested in staying active and defending his titles as super middleweight, then a fight with Benavidez could be on the horizon. While it may not carry the same historical significance as a Beterbiev fight, it would still be a blockbuster event, and one that fans have been clamoring for now, though Canelo's immediate future remains in flux. With Bivol defeat, the landscape of the light heavyweight division has shifted, and Canelo must decide whether to pursue greatness at 175 lbs or stay at 168. To fend off challengers like Benavidez, either way, his next fight will be big in shaping the final chapters of his legendary career. The Benavidez vs Morrell fight has all the makings of a classic, and the heated build-up only adds to the heat. What's your take though? Share your thoughts below and don't forget to like and subscribe to the station for more updates. See you in the next one.